for the Twin Towers is like this inverted cube, and then there's like an inverted cube within it. His lair is in there, like, so there's a waterfall all around, and he's sitting on a chair. So, you finally figured it out, huh? You know? It's me and Keith Woods and Circa. Took you long enough. Then it's like this guy. I could snap you in half. You could call it a clean break. And we're like, oh, boo, fuck you. Yeah, that's the final battle. Ryan Dawson is at the bottom of he's not in Japan, he's at the bottom of the World Trade Center Memorial. Plotting, you know, he's doing his thing now.
John Dave Irving sent $109. Ryan, thank you so much for the opportunity to support your remaster of 9.1.1.
Wow. Thank you so much for the big super chat. I will make sure this gets to him. If anybody else wants to support Ryan Dawson's remaster, go to cozy.tv/Nick and click on the send a super chat link. And as long as you just say it's for the documentary, I'll make sure it gets to him. So just, hey, thank you very much. I appreciate the big super chat. It's on its way right now. I will make sure to do that. If you want to contribute, I'm actually a partner. No, that's a joke. Joke. We don't want to commit a crime here. I don't want this to be a crime scene. But just earmark it. Tell me, hey, I want you to donate this to Ryan Dawson on my behalf, and I'll try to make that happen for you. I think I could do that. Okay? So you just got to include a little note. But thank you so much for the big super chat. I appreciate your support of the documentary. It's an important project.
Do you think passengers were actually on the planes, or were the drones made to look like commercial airliners? Why did they bother with the obviously fake phone calls from the flights?
I think they swapped the planes out like this. I think there was a passenger plane like this, and then I think there was a remote controlled plane that took over, and then the real plane went down, and they killed everyone on the plane. That's what I think happened.
Bind sent $3. John Doyle had a great point when he said that the right wing had it all after 9/11. They could have instituted total border closure. Thoughts?
No, that's a totally stupid idea because the Jews did 9/11. So you got it totally twisted there. It should have never happened. It should have never happened. Those people should still be alive and the Twin Towers should still be up. It's not a good point. It's a stupid point that belies that he doesn't know that Ryan Dawson did 9/11.
Kelcorp sent $5. I made a 9/11 joke watching a 9/11 documentary with my mom when I was around 8, and my mom was like, "You wouldn't be joking if you were in the Twin Towers, would you now?" Remember that to this day.
Thanks for sharing.
J. Pole sent $3. What does being Catholic have to do with opposing waterboarding? The Inquisition makes Gitmo look like nothing. We practically invented torture.
It's okay. Relax, buddy. Okay? Take it easy. It's 3 a.m.
Goiper sent $3. Time to address the Cobson question. Is he a gem? Colido.
I don't know who that is. Stupid garbage.
Bind sent $3. Keith Woods has a lil Irish dingus. Same with you, Nick. It's not cool the fact you do all this fucking bullshit when it happens to be nonsense.
Okay, well you're a Jew, so shut up.
Natsuk Greekoid sent $3. You said on Twitter, before you blocked me, that people should wear crucifix pendants. If you have one, could you show us? Love you.
I said that, no, I said that people should wear their crucifix. So if I would do that wearing a suit, I would wear a lapel pin. I don't have a crucifix necklace. I have a cross necklace, but it's not in this room. So no, I'm not going to do show and tell. But I mean, if it were me, if you're wearing a suit, I would say a lapel pin or like a bracelet or something. Because I didn't specifically say a pendant. I would be a necklace. But I think a necklace, if you're wearing something casual, I think a necklace. But if I were going to wear it with a suit, I would wear a lapel pin. So I got to get one. I'll probably buy one soon. And then I don't have a necklace, though. I have a cross necklace, but it's over there. So I'm not going to do that. Great question.
Jared sent $3. Hi, I am Ryan Dawson. I own the entire discussion of JQ and 9/11. If anyone brings it up, I must tell them I have a documentary and talked about it
Hey,
first.
dude,
There is no room for anyone else.
You're killing
Am I
me.
gay?
You're killing me, man. You're killing me.
GLC sent $3. The lawyer who played one of the biggest roles in releasing the men in the van from interrogation and back into Israel was Alan Dershowitz lol.
Yeah, well, and it's him who's there at APAC 10 years ago saying how proud he is that Jews run society.
Bind sent $3. Hitler was not based.
Yeah, well, you would say that, considering you are Jewish, so...
The unknown
Seems like a conflict of interest.
soldier sent $3. Keith Wood's leprechauns are the Ewoks.
Okay, you're ruining it. Ruining it.
John sent $3. Millet has big flaws as you mentioned, but owning the libs is funny to watch. Trump is a Zionist too, but we
Dude,
take the victories where we can
shut
get them.
up.
Millet is a fountain of libtard triggerism.
No, wrong. Fuck you.
Polish_mail sent $3. You're sick, Dawson. This is all in your head.
He is sick. He needs to be locked up. He belongs in a padded cell. He's going insane.
ChemH sent $3. Destiny, after saying this is why we hate Judeo-Christian religions, he clarified, except Judaism, and went on to say how much smarter, funnier, and more secular they are. JFL.
Honestly, that's just bait. You shouldn't even engage with that. He's just baiting you.
Farad Lukovic sent $20. The cereal bowl haircut is so unnerving. He's such a freak.
He really is. He's a disturbed individual. I fear for my life. Like, that guy just should be imprisoned forever somewhere. At the bottom of the memorial, I think. That's where you belong.
Korlik sent $5. Please deliver this to Dawson in a Boeing 767.
Yeah, I'll deliver it to his residence.
Farad Lukovic sent $20. Ryan Kindergarten
Okay,
Diddler
all right.
Dawson.
Chill. No, we don't need to go. Why? Why would you think we would need to go there? We're making a joke that he did 9/11. You're like, yeah, I bet he rapes kids. What? Like, this is why Groypers just don't. Like, a lot of you guys just don't. Come on now. Like, it's one thing to make a joke that he thinks that he's the only one that could talk about 9/11 and it would be funny that he did 9/11. You're like, haha, yeah, and he rapes kids. It's like, dude, why? Why would he go? No, let's not call him a child rapist. Okay, let's not. Sheesh, like, read the room, man, read the room. I'm not trying to be contrarian. We have a running joke that, like, he thinks that he has a monopoly on this conversation, like, only he can talk about it. What if he did 9/11? What if he was like a supervillain? You come in, yeah, and he molests kids. Like, dude, no. Chill, bro, chill.
Chugger sent $5. Dawson, I'm tired of slaving away at these documentaries, only for them to be called boring.
Yeah.
So I made the perfect story.
See, this is good, yeah. He's sitting there at the bottom of the memorial. I was tired of making documentaries that no one even paid for, only for them to be called
heavy
boring.
silk.
So I gave him the perfect
While we're
story.
running to this pit stop at
Is that a good
Oh,
Dawson
actually,
impression? That's my Ryan Dawson impression.
Again,
So I gave him the perfect
what you
story.
deal.
Then he did
Right
9/11.
in
Then he
Eric
did
Chinos,
9/11
which
all
really
over
wasn't
again.
a bad deal. Now looking at the
Farad
vendor
Lukovic
price,
sent
$90
$20.
and I bought it
Is
for
it bad that I'm
$1,
rooting
so
for the Jews specifically against Ryan Dawson?
It's a fairly cheap video.
Okay, dude.
Fully Levered sent $20. He'll have a safe edgy 9/11 joke. Double Reddit.
Yeah.
Triple French
I
people
saw that
bad
too. I saw this on Twitter too.
reference.
Nice job.
Easy on the racism. No anti-Semitism. Watermark it and don't forget the Cheems.
Yeah, I saw that too.
John sent $3. Thoughts on Large R. Marjorie calling for secession? I've heard you say national divorce is a bad idea. What would be the threshold for divorce? Great show,
Just a
King.
dumbass question. It's what's the threshold for it? It's never gonna happen. Divorce of whom? Whom will divorce whom? Nobody's divorcing anybody, okay? Because red and blue, black, white, they're all completely intermixed. There is no, like, regionalism in America, because regionalism would imply that there are parallel vertical structures, meaning that, like, the North and the South in the Civil War, They were parallel, separate societies, meaning that, you know, although they were unified in some sense, the South had state governments and a regional culture and regional identity and this and that, and the North had the same. And so the Southern leaders said, well, we're going to separate and form our own army and this and that, and like, here's the line of demarcation, and that's how you get a separation. Where would that line be today? The governments of all the states are with the federal government, and all the states are dependent on the federal government, and all the states are dependent on like liberal international businesses. So there's just no way that's going to happen. Like, when people say they want a divorce, they mean like, we want like Republican voters to live in a different country, but it's like there are no leaders that support that. So it's just not going to happen. There's no threshold where it becomes possible. It's just not going to happen that way. It could in the future, you know, if things become like super tribal and the authority of the federal government wanes, but I think that's unlikely because of technology. So I don't think that's possible. I don't see that happening.
Jared sent $3. Yum yum. Thanks for the ice cream.
Great.
Jared sent $3. Ryan Dawson looks like the creepy brother from Wedding Crashers. He made a painting of you, Nick.
I don't understand that reference. I haven't seen that.
Irish Hog sent $10. Great stream king, glad I found AF and the dancing Israeli red pill. The 9/11 conspiracy scene for us millennials was just Alex Jones talking about jet fuel and steel beams?
True. Yeah, I'm glad you found it too. Okay, that's our last super chat. That's gonna do it for me. Remember to follow me here on Cozy. Smash the follow button to get a push notification whenever I go live. Follow me on Rumble and Telegram. Links are down below. I'm on the air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to the super chatters, in particular, Groived AF, Light Dot, and John Dave Irving. Special thanks to them. Thanks to all our super chatters, everybody that watches. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. It's going to be only America first. America first. The American people.
In August 2001, actor James Woods was on a flight from Boston to Los Angeles when he observed some Middle Eastern passengers acting strangely. He told authorities what he saw, and the FBI has apparently corroborated that it may have been a dry run for the 9/11 hijackers.
I was on a flight. Without going into the details of what made me suspicious of these four men, although it would have been blatantly obvious to the most casual observer, I took it upon myself to go to the flight attendant and ask to speak to the pilot of the plane. The first officer came out. I reported to him that I felt that the four men, and I said, can you look over my shoulder and see who I'm talking about? And he said, yeah. I said, I think they're going to hijack this plane. I mean, everything they're doing, and I explained to him these details, which I've been asked to keep private until whatever jurisdiction, you know, whatever trials may take place. Their behavior was such that, that I felt they were going to hijack the plane. I also said, I'm very much aware of how serious it is to say on an American aircraft in flight, the word hijack. So yeah. I'm saying this because I really have reason to believe it's true. As I found out later that not only did he make a report, but the flight attendant also made a report of my suspicions to the FAA. When I got home that night, it had been a very turbulent flight. I had said to this woman I'm dating and my girlfriend and my best friend, they said, how was the flight? And I said, well, aside from the terrorists and the turbulence, it was fine, which was now in retrospect not such a very funny joke, but it was August 1st and nobody was thinking along those lines. And when 9/11 happened, we were all stunned, and we all happened to be at my house that evening, and my friend Scott said to me, you know, remember that flight you took in August? I said, yeah, I've been thinking about it all day. He said, well, maybe you should call the FBI. And I said, I'm sure they're being inundated, but I thought it over and I called the local office, and within 2 minutes got a hold of a very intelligent young man, a special agent there, who took the report. And I said, I hope I'm not wasting your time. He said, well, we have so many reports coming in, and he said, and by the way, even if this leads to something, we don't like to backwash information to people, because in case they have to go to a trial and be witnesses or whatever, so you won't hear from us. I said, well, great. And he said, but we appreciate your calling. 6:45 the next morning, I get a phone call that actually wakes me up, and he said, we want to talk to you about the flight that you took in August. I said, oh, did the manifest match of any of the flights yesterday and my flight? He said, well, we can't tell you that. I said, well, look, I'll get ready and I'll come down to the federal building. He said, we're outside your house. We'll just wait for you.
Wow, 7:15. So this is
6:45 in the
serious.
morning. I said, and this is the only funny part of any of this, I said, how did you know where I lived? And there was a pause. He said, we're the FBI. We're the FBI, thank you. So they came in, and I said, look, I'm dying to know, were these the guys? And he said, well, we've had 36,000 tips in one day, and there's 2 of us, and we're going to be at your house all this morning, so you can do the math, but we can't tell you, you know. So since then, I have identified for sure 2 of them as 2 of the terrorists, who actually were not on Flight 11, but one was on Flight 175 and one was on Flight 77. And I've been told unofficially, not by the FBI, but by someone else in actually a higher level of government, believe it or not, just through a coincidence, through a mutual friend, that all 4 of them were terrorists involved.
That is unbelievable. So there was basically a rehearsal what these guys were doing.
Right, but what's significant about this is that it was a rehearsal with 4 men, and I can't say it as a fact that they were the 4, but I've been led to believe, without going into details of how, that they were on different flights. So the notion that they were separate cells, and this is tricky territory, but I think in the Moussaoui trial there's going to be some contention that, you know, he was a soldier and didn't know what was going to happen until he stepped on the plane and then decided in a fit of good conscience not to be a terrorist anymore. In fact, the fact that these 2 people were identified by myself and other people and were on the Boston-LA flight and ended up dying on 2 other flights of the 4 flights on September 11th shows that they
what
were.
An amazing story.
There was
and this is the first time I've ever heard this. This is the first time you're telling the story.
Yes.
So it was just you and these 4 guys in first class, nobody else?
No,
right?
no, there were
a couple other guys.
Yes,
were they nervous too, or was it just you picking these guys out?
As I explained to the FBI, they said, "What was your first instinct?" And aside from certain things like 4 guys getting on a transcontinental flight without any hand luggage, who. It's funny. I notice behavior because I guess I'm an actor, and it's kind of what I do for a living.
You always watch people, right?
I just kind of observe people. It's something I've always been fascinated by. Sort of like that scene in Annie Hall where Woody Allen and Diane Keaton sit and watch people and sort of talk about who they might be. And there were 4 guys. When the flight attendant, who was a woman, came up to them, they literally ignored her like she didn't exist, which is sort of a kind of Taliban, kind of a Taliban, idea of womanhood as a, not even a human being. I mean, it seems their disrespect for women is so extraordinary. And they didn't order alcohol, and they said to me, what did you think these guys were? I said, well, I thought they were either 4 law enforcement officers or 4 terrorists. In that they had that thing that guys who are undercover or on a mission have between each other, and it's impossible to explain.
Well, you were lucky. Well, you're absolutely lucky that they didn't decide to do it a month before.
By the way, one thing I must clear up that has been sort of misreported in the press. I did not report this to the FBI before September 11th.
Right, just the FAA.
And it was only done by, as I understand it, the flight crew, as I've been told later. And, there are people who love to take pot shots. I can't tell you.
Why? I mean, decided to do it a month before.
By the way, one thing I must clear up that has been sort of misreported in the press. I did not report this to the FBI before September 11th.
Right, just the FAA.
And it was only done by, as I understand it, the flight crew, as I've been told later. And, there are people who love to take pot shots. I can't tell you.
Why? I mean, I think you did the right thing.
Well, no, but they'll say, oh, you told the FBI and they didn't do anything. That's completely and utterly
don't worry
wrong.
About those pinheads.
No, but,
I mean, you did exactly the right thing.
No, but I mean, if you worked with these people, as I have, they are incredibly dedicated people. And it's just something I want to go on record as saying. Good. I've had nothing but great experience with them.
In some of your interviews, you have been very hawkish against the terrorists. I mean, probably the most outspoken Hollywood guy. And you used the word towel heads one time. Did you take a lot of heat on that?
Maybe, but I don't pay attention to heat. I mean, I don't explain and I don't complain and I don't.
But to say that in a pejorative way, would you have taken that back?
Well, I do think at times when you feel passionate about something, there are times that all of us, I'm sure you have, and I know I have allowed my tongue to sort of get out ahead of my brain a little bit. And by the way, clearly, I would not want to hurt anybody's feelings. But on the other hand, it's not like after thousands of incidents of terrorism in the past 20 or 30 years that, we have to worry a lot about, like, Swedish terrorists. Okay?
That's right.
I mean, so the bottom line is, I think of the energy that a lot of people in the Muslim world, and there are, I'm sure, excellent, extraordinary people in that world, if they put that energy into policing their own, as much as they are criticizing politically correct or incorrect gaffes like I made, that maybe would be all a lot better off in the world. I mean,
Well,
it reminds me of those people who lived in Dachau who, were shocked at the end of the war to find out that there was, what that black smoke was coming from those chimneys 100 yards from their house.
They don't want to know the truth. Mr. Woods, we appreciate you coming in. That is really some story, though, about the...
Yeah.
Someone once said,
greed. We watched World of Warcraft grow and be greeted with who owns the website RXP Media. This person is Cargos, a popular WoW Classic streamer and influencer who no doubt runs Rested XP and a leader of the hardcore community-based game mode in WoW Classic. This is all public information. Interestingly enough, RXP Media also owns a bunch of different websites including ClassicHardcore.net, the official hardcore game mode for Classic WoW's website. Also, the filing date for RXP Media, interestingly enough, was the end of May 2021, mere months before the announcement of Cargos' event Road to Ragnaros. Again, this is very important for later. But who is Cargos? We know him for Vanilla, but what about before Vanilla? Cargos started making YouTube videos dating back on his channel in 2011 during the Cataclysm expansion. During that time, Cargos made videos on Hearthstone content and retail WoW with Legion. Interestingly enough, Cargos has a deep history with Hearthstone. He briefly started making content on Vanilla way after Nostalrius ended at the end of 2016 when it was relaunched under Elysium. WoW Classic was announced at BlizzCon 2017, and Cargos ramped up the Vanilla WoW videos since then. It's all public on his YouTube. Cargos did not start with this does get worse, because next we need to talk about how Rested XP and Hardcore are monetizing WoW Classic, using the community to their own advantage.
To promote a couple of movies, one of which, like he was talking about Star Wars, Star Trek, and I loved it, but he doesn't have to do Opie's show. He doesn't have to do a lot of shows. He's probably contractually obligated to do Howard or something. But to think, like, and then to go, look, I'm not starting anything with J.J. Abrams here, thinking that you could start something, it got me just to thinking, like, God, that's delusional thinking. I didn't tweet it. I didn't text it. I just thought it last night. I was thinking that's kind of a delusional perspective to have on your show. I was telling the inimitable Gavin McInnes just seconds ago, we had a great run with the O&A show. We had some really big popularity at NEW. We had just come to New York. It was great. Making boatloads of money. It was fucking fantastic. And then, you know, we fucked up a couple of times, got fired. The last time we got fired before Sirius Satellite Radio, we were damaged goods. We get back to Sirius, or they hire us at XM. And, you know, we pretty much had to rebuild the whole thing from there, which we did. Never to the point that we were at NEW, but it was comfy. It was nice. We were doing well, but nowhere near where I think this guy just needs to be. He needs to believe that he's somewhere huge, and it isn't that way anymore. So that.
All right, I'll deal with the quarterback real quick. Concerned with his Achilles. MRI is probably going to confirm what we think is already going to happen, so prayers tonight, but it's not good.
Coach, after Aaron went down, what your defense played in the second half, what did you learn about this team that maybe you didn't know prior to the game?
Personally, didn't learn anything. I think we all know what we have personally.
What did you learn about this team that maybe you didn't know prior to the game?
Personally, didn't learn anything. I think we all know what we have in that locker room. I think we'll continue to keep speaking with the way we play, and I think that's what those guys are. They're an unbelievable, resilient group. We've already known that. Our defense came out in the second half and just took it personal. Take the ball away from those guys 4 times. Stop after stop after stop. I thought offense was absolutely speaking the right language at halftime. Came out of the locker room, made the adjustments we needed to make, and got the points we needed to get. And so just overall, I just thought it was an unbelievable game all the way across the board. Special teams, obviously capping it off, but proud of the group, but they didn't show us anything that we don't already know in the locker room.
How do you process your emotions right now? Obviously a great win for you guys, but the Aaron injury.
That part sucks. I'm going to enjoy this win. Winning in the NFL is hard, regardless of who the quarterback is. Personally, I don't hurt for me. I don't hurt for our locker room. I hurt for Aaron and how much he's invested in all of this. You know, so I'm still going to say a prayer. I'm still going to hold out hope. But you know, my heart's with Aaron right now, and nowhere else.
Is he still here tonight?
I think he left.
Robert, how do you feel like Zach handled himself?
I thought he was awesome. He had a couple of big third down throws, clutch throws to extend drives and score points. Thought his command of the huddle, line of scrimmage. Thought he was gritty. He was also created off schedule, scrambled for a big one. Came in the you know, he threw the interception, still bounced back. It didn't snowball into anything big. You know, we still have a lot of faith in him. You know, I think we've proven that by keeping him here and continuing to invest in him, and excited for him and his opportunity.
Just a quick follow. There's been a lot made about how much Aaron has done for him this summer. Did you see evidence in that today?
Yeah, for sure. You know, he's got a lot he still has a long way to go, you know, in terms of growth. But what you love about Zach is just his mental makeup, the way he approaches every day, and how much confidence he has in himself. And I thought today was a really good example of you know, what we think of him and how he can play, and he's going to be great. Yeah, he is. So
if Aaron can't go, is Zach the guy the rest of the way?
Yeah, he'll be the guy.
Did you get to see Aaron at halftime?
Real quick. Real quick.
How did you refocus in the moment when that happened, and how did you get the guys to refocus?
Well, that's the part of the game. You got to go. You know, I've said it before, no one really cares at the end of the day. And, you know, I think, you know, from a locker room standpoint, just the group of guys that we have, like I said, the resilience, no one was fazed. And the way we came out in the second half on a mission, you know, just picked ourselves up off the ground, and defense is getting stop after stop. Offense came out, bam, right off the bat, get 3 points. The big turnover that resulted in the touchdown to Garrett. Just proud of the gritty. It was a gritty performance. Proud of the guys.
What did you know? Did you know immediately on the field with Aaron?
Kind of knew midway that he was out. Obviously, we knew he was out, and when they told me what they think it was, I just recalled the look on Aaron's face before he went and took his knee. Pretty much knew in the first half.
What was that moment like for Xavier and seeing him get to have that moment?
I'm going to speak for our entire locker room and say we knew he was going to score one. He was going to get one today. We just had a feeling. That kid is electric with the ball in his hands. If I'm a team, I'm not kicking to him, but let him keep proving it. So he was. But I think none of us in the locker room are surprised that he took one.
Rob, depending on the outcome of Aaron's test and everything, do the overall ambitions and plans of this team remain intact?
Always. You're always trying to win every game. You're trying to get as far as you can. You're trying to win world championships. So next man up, and we'll keep it rolling.
What did you think of Brees?
Brees looked good. I'm going to mess with him a little bit for getting caught on one, but he's still getting his legs back. But he's got such great vision and burst, and he's so slippery, deceptively slippery. But excited for him. He had a couple of big runs, a big screen. He's only going to get better and stronger. I thought Delvin was good too.
It's an Achilles injury for Aaron Rodgers. Nothing is official, but likely out for the season. J.K. Dobbins, Achilles injury. Ravens out for the season, which is just awful. It's bad for the Jets. It's bad for Aaron Rodgers. Older players generally struggle to recover as quickly as younger players. Aaron's now, 39 years old. He's also got bags full of money. I mean, he'll work hard to rehab. But for younger players, rehab, there's some optimism. You heal much more quickly. Your body does. Older players, it's a longer process. So you cross your fingers on that, but it is likely he is gone for the season. Let me tip my cap to the New York Jets and Robert Saleh, though. Considering the emotion of the night, 9/11 in New York, Aaron Rodgers' debut, an incredibly special night in New York City, in MetLife. For Aaron Rodgers to go down early, suck the wind out of the stadium, to insert Zach Wilson, who has struggled, a semi-bust to bust for the Jets, and to win that football game.
You're a tall one.
Little hero ball, but Zach mostly played within his game, within structure. They ran the football. I thought they managed the clock well at the end of regulation. Wasn't turning the ball over. I thought that was incredible coaching to lose not only a starting quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers in a Jet debut. The emotion that was pulled out of the stadium. And yet, Saleh's team was composed. They fought. They played within themselves on offense. They ran the football, I thought, pretty well. Tip of the cap. The offensive line is a work in progress. They will have their hands completely full at Dallas next week. That game's going to speed up very quickly for Zach Wilson. That is not a game I think he'll flourish in. But you have to give the Jets credit. And listen, the schedule's brutal. Zach Wilson at Dallas feels like an L. Zach Wilson then at home, but it's Belichick who he struggled with. Then it's Kansas City. If they lose to the Jags and are 0-2, they'll come into MetLife pissed. Then it's at Denver, Philadelphia, bye week. Giants feels good about, but then it's Justin Herbert. Then it's at Vegas and Garoppolo. At Buffalo, Josh Allen. Then it's Miami. So a lot of high-end quarterbacks where the Jets will have the second best quarterback on the field if Aaron Rodgers doesn't return. So, before I knew the outcome of Aaron Rodgers, before I did this, I'm thinking, listen, if they can get Aaron back in a month, that overtime win. Because you go 0-2 in the NFL. If the Jets lost tonight, go 0-2, lose to Dallas, you have only an 11% chance to make the playoffs. 0-3, it's less. Since 1990. So I thought the overtime win was substantial for the Jets, but I look at this roster and I just see too many good quarterbacks week after week after week. And I think you can have limitations defensively in this league and get to Super Bowls and get to conference championships. It's hard to have a lot of offensive limitations. Zach Wilson in the AFC is not close to a top 10 quarterback. The offensive line, the tackle positions are a problem. tight end is average. I think their receiving core, Garrett Wilson's a remarkable talent. What a catch he made. But overall, it's a pretty lean group. They can't afford an injury. On the other side, I have real concerns about Buffalo. Josh Allen in college at Wyoming was a wild, talented pony. Just needed to be coached. Goes to the NFL, first year, out of control, talented, bit of a mess. Brian Dable sandpapers him. Becomes an MVP level player, cuts down on turnovers, mechanics improve. So I watch him tonight and I see a quarterback who has regressed. 3 picks, a fumble, not sliding, mechanics have regressed, too much sidearm crap, did not execute very well at the end of, I thought, regulation, poor clock awareness. He skipped a couple of passes in the game. Josh Allen looks like he needs coaching. If you don't think coaching matters, go look at Kyle Shanahan as a coordinator to Matt Ryan made him MVP. All right, you look around this league, the best defensive coordinators, Dan Quinn in Dallas. You don't think he matters? That Cowboy defense.
Okay, I know a lot of people want an instant reaction. So my instant reaction is I'm spent. I literally aged 10 years. I don't know what I just saw, because the first 4 snaps is exactly what I was used to seeing for 54 years. And then the last quarter and overtime is something I'm not used to seeing. So I'm going to take the night. I'm going to get some rest. I'm going to take what I poured as medication earlier on tonight and sit back